Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
That's pretty good, actually. For a Tuesday morning, I don't think I'm going to say good morning again, like Jeanette does, because we've done well to get this far together. Day 2, and we have understood, I hope, the importance of knowing about our external environment. So you know what's happening out there in the marketplace. Really important for us as marketers to have our feelers out in the marketplace. One of the things that we'll be talking about is the danger of short-sightedness. Being so, I'm short-sighted, I take my glasses off and you're a blur. You're still lovely, you're a blur. Morning. So when you have an organisation, when you're working in an organisation, it's so easy to get caught up with what's happening today. It's really exciting, we have to move fast, we have to do this. You forget that the stuff out there is really important. You have to really take good account of it, understand it, move towards your customers, understand what your competitors do. So we looked at the external environment, the political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental, the PESTEL, yesterday. There are chairs at the front. Today we're going to, and by the 22nd of October, which is when you're going to give me your draft of your report, your first part of the report, sections 1, 2 and 3 of the report. If you look in the front of your books, page 6, you're going to give me the market audit, the customer analysis, and the competitor analysis by the 22nd of October. Yeah. We're not going to be commenting on the other sections. We'll just comment on sections 1 to 3. Most of you won't have the ammunition, you won't have the content by then to do much more than sections 1, 2 and 3. By all means, write the rest of the, or draft out and put the structure down high for the other sections, but we won't have the capacity to comment in detail on the rest of them. We'll give you an idea of how you're doing for the whole of it, but I don't think you need to make it difficult for yourselves. It's going to be difficult enough keeping up with the pace of the delivery here. So just focus on sections 1, 2 and 3 for the 22nd of October. And today we're looking very, very closely in what is probably the most critical part of it, which is your customers and your competitors, particularly your customers. So yesterday we worked on this side of the equation, the political, economic, socio-cultural and technological. PESTEL. So we're in section 4 now, page 34 of your booklets. We are. We should feel a little bit more in control of our customers and our competitors. We should feel that we know about them as an organisation. So there are more controllable factors that you have some power over what happens to. I can't see the top of it. I'm really disappointed that you can't see the top of it. But the 3 words at the top you can read in your book are customer choice factors. We're looking at the things that influence your customers, the things that make them buy the things they buy, do the things they do. And we're all different. We talked yesterday about the different things that we like. Some of us agreed or disagreed about whether marketing was an art or a science. We all come at things differently. In this room, does anybody eat muesli for breakfast? Oh, just me then. Because we're all different. I am in a different demographic to you. I'm married. Is there anybody else in the room who's willing to admit to being married? So you're married? Yeah? No? Not willing to admit it. Yeah, that was probably too personal a question for 9:05 in the morning. Anybody here have an animal that they look after? A pet? You have a pet. Okay, what pet do you have? A cat. Do you have a cat? So I have dogs. You have a cat. My sister has loads of cats. My sister spends her life looking after cats that have been abandoned or injured. So you and I know that we like animals, so I've already got something in common with you. And it's about finding out those things. Does anybody here enjoy shopping for clothes? Just me then? No, come on girls, help me out. Anybody enjoy shopping for shoes? Yes, we've got a few people who like it. So we're collecting people who like doing the same things. And we're understanding what the customer's buying. A mixture of the product characteristics. Now, take shoes, for example. What sort of characteristics would we need for the product for shoes, do you think? Comfortable. Comfortable is important. So, comfortable material, yeah, because a lot of people don't buy leather because they don't approve of killing animals to make shoes. I personally think, well, hey, we eat animals, so we'll wear them on our feet. And comfort is important. What else do we look for in a shoe? Stylish. And what did you say? But nice looking. Yeah, so we need them to be stylish and nice looking. We need to, functional, so that they don't let the water in if it's raining. But we all have different characteristics that we look for in a shoe. What happens if you're asked out on a date that's important that you look good? What sort of characteristics from the shoe would you need then? Well, sometimes you want to look sexy and gorgeous and, like you're really on top of it, don't you? So there are some shoes, and it doesn't matter if they're not that comfortable. Sorry to say, has anybody in this room got shoes that they wear even if they're not comfortable because they look good? Sadly, we're all victims of that one, aren't we? We have to look at the product characteristics. We have to look at the service support. My husband buys shoes, and I have to say I love the shoes he buys. He buys Loke shoes. They're made in Nottingham, and they're handmade, and they cost a lot of money. But oh boy, they fit like a glove, and they're supposed to last for years. He went back after he'd had a pair of shoes for 15 years, and said, the sole is coming apart, I'll pay for it to be repaired. Oh no, they've sent him a new pair of shoes? How fantastic is that? You do pay 400 quid for them, £400 equivalent. What's your equivalent currency for £400? Can you work it out? No? Quite a lot of money for one pair of shoes, but they last forever. So it's the pricing, it's the service support. So he was really impressed with the service, the delivery, how they're promoted. Now, some shoes, the promotion of them is what characterises them. Nike. What does wearing a pair of Nike shoes do for you? Yeah, they're sports shoes, and their promotion is just do it. Just do it. It's so liberating. It's not about being comfortable. It's not about being well made. It's not even about the materials that they're made from. It's about you're living your life to the full with those shoes. Put those shoes on, you can do anything. You can be anyone. Yeah, that's the promise that they're giving you. So what motivates your purchase? We were talking about the night out a moment ago. That's one motivation. To feel confident is a motivation. Your assignment's about holidays, so we've got loads of different holidays. We could go trekking in the mountains, we could go whitewater rafting, lazing on a beach with an umbrella. Look at those pictures. Picture which one you would prefer to be doing. Each of us will have a different idea about that. That's what makes us so unique and interesting. Marketers have to group people together who may share some characteristics, because we can't possibly, we haven't got the budget to do an individual message for every person. We have to pull them into groups of people, and we call that segmentation. It's both simply and as complicated as pulling people together into groups which share similar characteristics. So we know that segmentation, which is the word missing at the top, you don't know how to fix the machines and pushes it. No, don't worry. The aggregating means pulling together, aggregating of customers with similar requirements and buying characteristics. So, we have the same sort of requirements for shoes. We're walking. I've decided that my favourite holiday was the one of the people walking up the mountain, okay? So the shoes that I need for that are quite distinctive. So I'm going to look for a pair of walking shoes that will fit into very harsh terrain. And I will be segmented into groups of people who share that characteristic, the need for those type of shoes, okay? So my company, think of a company that produces Berghaus, okay? Berghaus, very good company, located in Europe, Switzerland, a Swiss company. They're going to target me. They're going to say, Liz Lai is wanting to walk in the mountains. I will maybe email her with our offers of products. I will put on her Facebook page the offer for the Berghaus. I will contact her and promote my products to her. I'm targeting because I've decided that she's worth me investing my promotional money in. She's worth me spending money on. Positioning is another way of deciding where you are in the marketplace, both in terms of your customers, what they think of you, and what's your competition, where you are relating to your competitors, against the things that are important to them. So what's important to your customers, what's important to you, what you can deliver. And that's where the skill of it comes, to match those two things. And we'll be going that in more detail. So in the old days, you used to be able to just throw out a message and it didn't matter before segmentation. Before you start doing segmentation, you're looking at each of your customers and you're trying to decide what their choice factors might be. So we have here the choice criteria of individual customers, and this is customer 1, customer 2, right through to customer 8. Then we group them into segments, depending on what customer choice factors they share. So we're segmenting them. We're beginning to say that customers 1, 5, and 7 all like the number 1. They all share that characteristic. Customers 2 and 6 like product number 2, and 3, 4, and 8 prefer product number 3. We're in the best position to deliver to customers who prefer product 3. A marketing mix strategy, we put together our product, promotion, price together and offer it to people in the place that they want to access it for that target segment. So we've decided judging by their attractiveness to us, by how we can meet their need more closely, we target that customer group. So, a family car might want an estate car. A family might want an estate car. A person who's living on their own in a town environment might want that little car in the middle. You can see why. Easy to park, low on petrol. There's only one, or is there even 2 seats in that? There's just 1 seat. 2 seats, just barely 2. So you know you can just about get in it and get your shopping in, and that's it. So you can see that you wouldn't necessarily want to live on a farm in the remote hills if you have that car. Segment 3. We're talking about a successful professional who wants to show off a bit, a little bit of an extrovert here, red sports car, looking gorgeous, wanting to go make a lot of noise. A friend of mine owns a TVR, and he came here. See, I can't even make. I was asking Jeanette because I don't even know the name of the thing. Anyway, came to our house. I heard it at the end of the street. Coming and parking outside the house. My next door neighbour's curtains. Hello, what's happening here? Simon gets out. He's so cool. I've made it in the world. I'm driving my DVR. I've got a fabulous car, and I got in it, and I thought, yeah, this is good fun. But it's not going to replace my little Mazda. Sorry. So it's our choices are our vision of ourselves. Really, they reflect our personalities. We as marketers have to make intelligent assumptions about our target markets and see which one is, this one is annoying because you can't see the top of it. Segmentation focuses on real people. So we chose the image of a segment, an orange, because oranges have segments in them, and they're all connected to each other, the segments. So you can be in several segments during the course of your life, depending on your life stage, your lifestyle, your income, where you live. You've changed segments by coming to the UK to study. You've changed from one segment in your home country to another segment. So it's just a question of marketers understanding their customers better. By, rather than seeing them as a great big group of people, I see you today in this room as a big group of people, but actually you're all individuals. And in our seminar groups, we're working in groups of 4 or 5, and I'm getting to know you as individuals. Same thing for segmentation. You move from the bigger to the smaller, from the general to the specific. And so you can do it. There are loads of things on segmentation which I'd like you to read up about. Lots of different ways of segmenting your market, looking at different characteristics of your customers. You can look at the obvious things that you can ask people. How old are you? Be careful with that one though, because not many people like to admit their age after a certain point is reached. So you can often tell, not always, but mostly tell what sex they are, whether they're men or women. Transgender is the third one, which people use now. Income, how much they earn, another sensitive question. So you're talking about people here. And I think one thing that comes across, I've heard a presentation from Experian, which does a lot of market research into customers and customer lifestyles. It also does credit referencing. So it tells you how creditworthy you are when you're going for a mortgage or a loan. They have extraordinarily detailed profiles of people. And some of them, which don't get aired in public very often, are very flattering about people. Especially those people who are maybe living in less than ideal conditions and who don't have a high income. So they can be quite insulting, some of those things. We as marketers, I think, have to remember the humanity there and say, you may be in a lower social class, maybe. You may not be able to spend a lot of money, but we still have to respect where you are and not just be dismissive of you. Where you live, whereabouts in the world you live has a bearing on whether you're segmented, which is why I said yours has changed. And where you are with your family life cycle. We've established that I'm one of very few, Jeanette's, all right, so you're also in a partnership, in a relationship, a long-term relationship. And, but you're at the stage where you may not be, that's the next bit of your life maybe. How scary and exciting is that? Not many of you have children. And if you have children, they may be very small, very tiny children. They may be, unlike me, who's got a 20-year-old who's getting taller and taller by the minute, and I'm going to have to climb on a ladder to speak to him soon. So we're at different stages of our lives. I've got the horrible prospect that was brought home to me with a 20-year-old that he could have children. No way! You're not going to call me grandma for quite some time. Thank you very much. And so it's about what we have in our heads, which moves us into a slightly more subtle, more interesting area of psychographics. What we believe in. Do we believe in things? How many of you sit around the table to have dinner? In the UK, yeah, I do, I try to. But my son, if there's a football match on TV, he'll sit down, eat and watch the football. A lot of families in the UK don't have a table to eat off. Yeah, really. There was some research recently that said a significant, I think it's 20% or 18% of the population do not possess one of these to eat off. So it's because they don't eat as a family anymore. People just snack or grab something in the kitchen, which tells you about the way that families communicate with each other. It tells me that they're probably not having that conversation, that long conversation that you have over dinner. Your attitudes. Your attitudes, I've missed the T out, so I've spelled it wrong, sorry about that. Behavioural characteristics. Behaviour is really good for marketers because we can encourage people to change their behaviour. We can explain the benefits of a product. We can ask them to use it more frequently. Cereal, we talked about muesli. I eat muesli every morning. Boring, but true. I eat a variety of different types of muesli, but I have it with my fruit in the morning, that's my breakfast. I also have it sometimes for supper, last thing at night before I go to sleep. I like it. My husband thinks it's rabbit food. Doesn't appreciate it at all. But you can change the usage situation, and people have done that for many years, marketers. You can change the way they purchase it. The internet has changed the way we purchase books. Has anybody got a Kindle? A book? An electronic book? E-reader? Anything like that? Yeah, you've got an e-reader. Changed the way we read books, hasn't it? It's absolutely changed how I feel about books. Yeah. I still like to have the paper in my hand, but I'm happy to flick over the page and read like Jane Austen on the train. It's so lightweight, it's marvellous, really, really good invention. So the purchase situation and loyalty. I mean, loyalty is a word that's bandied about. Marketers like to talk about it. I'm not sure how real it is these days that you don't see the person you're doing business with. I'm not sure how loyal I feel, however much they'd like me to feel loyal to Sainsbury's or Waitrose or Asda. I don't really feel loyal. I'm looking for the special offers. I'm looking for getting what I need at a cheap price. And if somebody else will make me a better offer, I'll probably go there. I'm not that loyal. Banks. I mean, how can we be loyal to banks now for what they've done to us? But we like to talk about the word loyalty and think that it means something. Critical events in your life, those things that we're talking about where something big happens. And they can be great things and they can be bad things. They affect our behaviour as customers. We buy different things at those times of life. And a hybrid, a mixture of those. So geography, demographics, psychographics, it's becoming increasingly complicated is what I'm trying to say there. So the segmentation helps us to gain a detailed understanding of the customer choice factor. And I've just got a little. That up, Chris Garrett, How to Create Pen Portraits and Understand Your Target Audience. Just a link to an article that I found on the internet to really give you a detailed information about the people that you're doing business with. I want you to really get to know your customers for your destination. I want you to understand what makes them want to come to your country, to your city, and get under their skin so that you can have a conversation with these people. I want you to think in those specific terms. A lot of it will have to be making assumptions, but we can, as intelligent human beings, make those assumptions with the correct referencing and background information. So don't be afraid to make it personal. Many international companies aren't using country or geographical regions because we're so global now, we're so transnational. We're becoming more like each other in certain areas. And I went to Taiwan and ate in restaurants, ate street food, walking along, and felt like I knew what I was doing. And I go to the Chinese supermarket in Sheffield and buy ingredients and try to reproduce the dishes at home. We're going to give you a cultural experience of Britain with bingo, which is a game that a lot of people used to play. Probably lower socio-economic classes used to play a lot, and eat fish and chips, which is the national one of the national dishes. Now England, I don't think Britain has much in the way of culinary expertise. Oh, you're disagreeing with me. Come on then, Jonathan. Tell me.
I've got more than one actually, so another one, which demonstrates our new international post-imperial chicken tikka masala.
Chicken tikka masala is the most popular takeaway dish in the UK. An Indian takeaway is the most popular, and second to fish and chips. I'm still keeping my flag waving fish and chips. Roast beef, roast dinners, those sorts of things. But increasingly, culturally, you guys have broken another boundary. You will never go back home and just see everything that's in your particular region. You have changed. You are international human beings now. You're not domestic human beings. You will never be that. Just widening your mind by doing postgraduate study. You're already moving away from your origins. So you're expanding the opportunities for marketing to you. So increasingly we're looking at increasing similarity among young people in their behaviours, especially with mobile technology, mobile communications. And neighbourhood types are the same in France, in the UK. We've got some good friends in Europe. They live very similarly to us. My niece lives in Australia. Pretty similar life to us. So across the world, lives are changing and becoming a little bit similar. There's a danger there as well. We have the values that we try to understand what drives us in our life, what makes us get up in the morning. And values and attitudes are really important elements to that. So we're looking to, when we're segmenting our markets, we can segment them down. Miller segments them into strivers who are looking to reach their professional goals, so that they identify themselves through their work. And I used to do that. I used to identify myself. I'm not a man, I'm a woman, but I identified myself with my work very much when I was in my 20s. And then I was made redundant from my job. And that evening I went to a party, Friday evening I went to a party, I'd just been made redundant. And I just found that I was pregnant. So a guy said to me, "Oh hi, what do you do?" And I suddenly had no answer. And I said, I'm expecting a baby. And he went, "Oh right, okay." Obviously too boring to talk to that woman. So really, we do. We identify ourselves from our career, from our work, don't we? The devout, the traditionalists, if you like, my family is everything, I am doing my duty, doing what's good for me. They often are caring for people, whether that's parents or children. And 22% of adults, this was a couple of years ago now, 2009, 2010, I'll check the reference. There are still quite a number, 22%, quite a large number of people who are doing that in the UK. Altruists, interested in social issues and welfare. They tend to be older, they tend to be volunteers. You know, you go into charity shops and they're there helping you. That's the demographic there. Intimates, personal relationships and family. You can see already we're drawing ourselves close to each other, and so when you're a marketer, the messages are to reinforce those values, those underlying core things that make you tick. And fun seekers, 12% of the population having fun. We just want to have fun. And they're younger. That sort of stands to reason, doesn't it? Strong interest in education, knowledge and technology for the creative. So you can see, you could go on and on. These are the values and lifestyles framework, VALs. Have a little look at these in your own time. They're on Blackboard. Have a look, because they give you an insight into how you can measure values and lifestyles and pull people together into the segments of people who share those values and lifestyles. So you have idealists and people who believe in self-expression. I walked past a shop with an artist who makes horse sculptures out of driftwood. Absolutely beautiful, the things that she's doing, but she just sits there making horses out of driftwood all her life. You know, it doesn't do for everybody, but it's her life as well. And then you have the low resources, low innovation survivors, the people who are just above the breadline, just making do with what they've got. Marketers tend to ignore those very often. They're not going to buy anything from you, but you need to be aware that they're there, and as I said before, treat them with a little bit of more respect than they probably get at the moment. High resources, high innovation. They're often the people who will try out your products for you. They don't mind having a go at something new. They're the one who first bought that e-reader and said, yeah, it's not so bad. It's not like a book, but it's completely different. They're the ones who want to really take on more early research about different segments and their customer choice factors. So they've given some brands that different types of people respond to, and the message, the marketing message is different. You see, we're telling them different things because they, if you're sociable, which many of you will be, you want your team to be bright and gleaming and smiling faces. So we tell you that we put the ad with lots of people singing and dancing and then cleaning their teeth and still having shiny teeth in the morning. That's the message. If you're a worrier, you're worrying that your teeth are getting cavities every moment that you have, and you look at a sweet and you see that it's got you're getting a cavity in your mouth, you present the product differently to those people. You'll tell them that it's safe. You'll probably put a person, and you probably put a man in a white coat on the ad for them, so that will make them reassured that somebody trustworthy has researched this. We're conservative, so we have, and we want to look after our families. So you can see it's connecting to the segmentation that we talked about earlier on. The segmentation profiles, they're a convenient tool to use. So don't just take it from me. You know, you can actually make your own mind up about things, do your own research, talk to people about it. it's just about the segmentation variables. So in the seminars, we're going to list all the possible factors and be imaginative about this. List all the possible factors that may influence the choice of a brand or product. And then look at the segment name is like the sociables or the warriors or something like that. You know, make a name for your segment, we'll be doing that. And look at the characteristics of those people. So what characteristics do they have? Therefore, you can give a little bit more detail of where we find them, what their profile is, and the primary benefits of all the customer choice factors. What are the 3 things that they really, really need from a product or a service for it to work for them? A colleague of mine designed this matrix, works really well just to put things into a structure to make sense of it. So I've started to fill in some characteristics for people going on holiday. You've got to do. We've got the lazy sunbathers, we've got the culture vultures, we've got the active and adventurous, so that you can see that you can start to populate it with all the possible things. Now, I have a criticism of this, which is that the CCFs are really too general to be meaningful. So when you're doing yours, I'd like you to go much more into specific detail, what they actually want when they visit your location. So it's actually the CCFs are a bit too general for my liking, but the profile information is pretty good. It will give you a steer, give you okay, yeah. So I'd like to see low price is too general. So priced between £100 and £200 per week is specific. $200 to $400 for the accommodation. That's the sort of thing. Restaurant meals, 15 to 30 euros. I'd like to see that as an example of a specific. Lively resort, maybe saying 6 nightclubs open till 3 a.m. as an indication of specifics. Be more specific. Yeah, thanks, John. So you're identifying what will answer the need of your segments, your chosen target segments, and it'll help you to choose the one that you're going to pick for your target segment. Because for the purposes of your report, we won't want you to go into great detail for all the segments. We want you to identify a lot of segments who might be interested in your destination. But then you go on to pick one target segment, and that's really important. Once you've done all this segmentation, you then go on to pick one target segment, and you focus everything, all your efforts on that target segment after that. Because it makes it easier for you, I want to make it not easy, but at least achievable for you guys in the time that you've got available to you. So, competitor analysis, going on to your competitors. So we've understood, we've got to know, we've got to love our customers. We love them. We're looking at our competitors now. The most important aspect is meeting the requirements of a chosen customer better than your competitors. You're always having to elbow other people out of the way, making room in a crowded marketplace. It's like a battle. It is like fencing. Are you strong or weak in the market? How attractive are you to your customers? What market share do you have? If you have a large share of your customer market, you are going to have an advantage because you've got more customers to play with, and hopefully you're making more money. So have you got anything in your offer? And that's why specifics are so important, that is unique, that will make people have to come to you. Like Apple at the moment seem to be having people just needing to buy an apple to make them feel fulfilled and complete. Yeah? Is it going to be cheap? Or is it going to be premium pricing? And what a lot of people do is say, we're going to offer really cheap holidays, but offer premium activities and very high class, high cost. You can't do it. It won't work for more than a week before you go out of business. So you've got to choose, and it's a difficult choice. Where are you positioned? Where is your brand positioned? Knowing your enemy, you can fight 100 battles without disaster if you know who you're competing with. Chinese philosopher, some of you may have heard of. So, there are 3 stages. Identifying who they are. Who are you competing against? How are you competing against them? What are their strategies, their strengths, their weaknesses against your strengths and weaknesses? And how do we attack them? How do we defend ourselves from their attack? And how do we keep them at bay and attack them? How to do it. It's about what else your customer's going to take their wallet out and spend. So if you're hungry right now, at the end of this session, in 10 minutes time, you may go out and have a drink. So you might be thirsty. You might get a glass of water from the tap. You might buy a Coca-Cola. You might also want to eat something, so a snacky bit. Or you might go and buy across the road a packet of biscuits from Sainsbury's. There are all sorts of choices that you're making. What else might your customers spend their money on? So don't think of necessarily just the obvious things that you're competing on. Sometimes it can be the less obvious things that, and particularly with something like holidays. I haven't been on a proper holiday this year. Everybody saying, I needed it, but I didn't go because I put new windows in my house and I had the outside painted. I'm bored already with that. And I hated it. I knew that it was the right thing to do. I knew that it was sensible, but I didn't enjoy doing it because I'd have liked to have gone to Italy for my holiday. But it's what else you spend your money on. You only have a certain amount of money and you have to decide how to spend it. So my husband and I had the adult conversation and we decided we would not go on holiday, we would paint the house and put new windows in. So, competitors can be directly competing, offering the same or similar services. They can be in the same rough product area. So biscuits can compete with crisps, can compete with what else? Cake, little cakes or something. If you're looking at snacks, quick snacks. And the water market, huge. And we don't know why really, because there's perfectly good water that you can get. It's just the portability. So you can take it with you. I've got water there that I take to every lecture. I sometimes don't take any of it, but it's just there for comfort, really. You know that you can have a drink if you need it. That's transformed our lives because 20 years ago we didn't have water in bottles. It just wasn't there, wasn't available. So general service, satisfying the same need. And sometimes we don't know what we need. When I was a child, I didn't need to listen to music when I was walking on the street. It's argued that we still don't need to do that, but we all do it. A lot of us do it. And the third category, which is probably the most difficult to pin down and really understand, asking us to spend our money, because you wouldn't really necessarily think that the double glazing person is a direct competitor for a holiday company. But it was in my household this year. So you can see how far away you can get sometimes. So there's my holiday. And we went there last year, it was marvellous, really lovely. If you get a chance to go to Italy, Umbria we went to, just next to Tuscany, absolutely beautiful. That's not my actual house, but it's a similar sort of thing on top. Nice like that. Or maybe maybe a spa treatment somewhere else, different type of holiday. Those are all competing. The customer choice factors are not always obvious. It depends on lifestyle, life stage. Those are the choices that we have. Come down. Thank you. Thank you for your time today. We're having a break for 5 to 10 minutes because we finished early, and then we'll go into our seminars.